Just got to my friend Travis's place. Matt's already here. He says that they have some sort of arcade game. Really hope I'm at the right house.
Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Welcome to Creatives Incorporated. What's going on, bro?
Wow. Yes. How much was this?
$300.
300 bucks?
Hey, well, you can also buy in Best Buy, GameStop.
So we're gonna play a little versus, PvP, which stands for?
Person versus person.
Close. Yeah, player versus player. These are our punches, Matt. These are our kicks, and this is move.
Why is there 3 different punches?
It's light punch, medium punch, and hard punch.
That was necessary.
Light, medium, hard.
Got it.
Look at that. See, that's like a John Romita Jr. Spider-Man. They're one of the artists.
Nobody gives a shit.
But I'll be Captain America.
Where's my thing? Oh, look at there.
Mode's like normal or turbo. What does that mean, Travis?
Turbo!
All right.
Whoa, no!
Come here, Iron Man. Yeah, your father was a little bitch too. I think we have the same strategy.
No! Is there a method to this at all, or is it
there
just
is,
non-stop?
but we don't have time for that. We don't have time for a method. This thing is rigged. Travis, you bought a faulty arcade machine.
This is an interesting. Oh, look at that! It's your napkin covers.
Whoa!
Whoa! Look at that spidiness.
Finally!
All right.
All right, we're one and one.
1 out of 4 ain't bad. Literally not even looking. I have no idea what's going on right now. And I won!
I'm cutting this from the video. This is getting cut from the. All right, we'll meet you back at Matt's house. And we're back at Matt's house. I'm glad you all could join us. Pastor's here as well. Jeremy cannot be with us, unfortunately. Jenna has actually seen this movie before, haven't you?
Yes, I have, and did not realize it was a comic movie, so I was a little confused in the opening scene, so ready for it now.
You saw it on TV?
I rented it right after it came out, like on Amazon or something.
Okay. Did you remember liking it?
Yes, I think I'll like it more now that I have a reference point.
To be honest with you, I had a little bit of nervousness covering this movie just because it happened to be on our list right when so much real world stuff is going on. So we were trying to think of the best way to handle it, especially since we're just like white guys.
Hey.
We're just gonna review and critique the movie like we would anything else. We're gonna really just try to keep it about the film.
Hey, good to see you guys. Yeah, I'm here. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Matt made it into the intro this time. Any preconceived notions about Black Panther? Jenna's already seen it, says she liked it.
I think I'm really gonna like it. I love his character. Old Daddy-O, he'll be back. And today's actually shooting Father's Day, so what a perfect time for him to come back, right?
Today we're filming on Father's Day.
He was dropping some bygone Jim moments in his first few minutes of being in the shot. I mean,
Yes. Pastor, how do you like Black Panther?
Black Panther was the most anticipated one for me because I actually read the Civil War comics and his involvement in the road to Civil War was huge. So I really wanted to see a cinematic portrayal, real life portrayal of Wakanda and everything else. So I was very excited and I love this movie.
All right, let's get into it. Black Panther.
subscribe to Pastor's channel. Not this one.
Millions of years ago, a meteorite made of vibranium struck the continent of Africa. 5 tribes settled on it and called it Wakanda. You look strong. Glory to Basta, I'm in good health. Since you lied to me. Leave him. You were Wakandan this whole time. You betrayed Wakanda. How could you lie to me like...
The tiny nation of Wakanda is mourning the death of its monarch, King T'Chaka.
Just don't freeze when you see her.
I never freeze. Coming.
Over there! Look back! This one's just a boy. He got kidnapped as well.
Nakia.
You froze.
They tell me you're the expert.
You could say that.
It was taken by British soldiers in Benin, but it's from Wakanda, and it's made out of vibranium. How do you think your ancestors got these? You think they paid a fair price? You got all this security in here watching me ever since I walked in, but you ain't checking for what you put in your body.
You can go, but just don't tell anyone, all right? You're not telling me that's vibranium too, huh?
No, I'm just feeling it.
Who could not keep his own father safe. You have fought with honor. Now yield. Your people need you. King T'Challa. Wakanda forever! Wakanda forever!
Dad's back.
He's on the ancestral planes. It's clearly not Earth.
He's back!
If anything, T'Challa is closer to death than he is to life.
But that doesn't mean that he's not alive.
I am not ready to be without you. And it's hard for a good man to be king.
And what are these?
The real question is, what are those? Why do you have your toes up? And I made them completely sound absorbent. Guess what I call them? Sneakers.
Hey. Just whip it back and forth there. Hey. What? It's a disgrace.
I think I'll just take these, bring them over here.
Every breath you take is massive from me.
Hi, Kumkani.
Listen, I'm doing you guys a favor by letting you even be in here.
Going to Great, another broken white boy for us to fix. This is going to be fun.
Do not tell me what is possible. Tell me the truth. I promised the king to say nothing. I am your king now!
Communities flooded with drugs and weapons. They are overly policed and incarcerated. All over the planet, our people suffer because they don't have the tools to fight back.
He drew his weapon on me. Your father killed his own brother to save my life. And the child, we left him.
Don't scare me like that, colonizer.
Well, my name is Everett.
He killed his own brother and left a child behind.
Y'all sitting up here comfortable. It's about 2 billion people all over the world that looks like us. But their lives are a lot harder.
I found my daddy with panther claws in his chest. You ain't the son of a king, you are the son of a murderer. I took life from my own brothers and sisters right here on this continent. And all this death, just so I could kill you.
I am the cause of your father's death, not him. Take me.
I'll take you both, Uncle James. No! I'm your king.
We have to go now.
The sunsets there are the most beautiful in the world. I should have taken you back long ago.
Well, maybe your home's the ones that's lost. When black folks started revolutions, they never had the firepower or the resources to fight their oppressors. They'll arm oppressed people all over the world so they can finally rise up and kill those in power and their children.
You cannot talk! One more word, and I will feed you to my children. I'm kidding, we are vegetarians. Our future depended
You
on...
are wrong to turn your backs on the rest of the world. I never yielded, and as you can see, I am not dead.
You are not fit to be a king.
You'll never be a true king.
You want to see us become just like the people you hate so much. Divide and conquer the United States.
Nah, I learned from my enemies. Beat them at their own game.
You have become them.
Would you kill me, my love?
For Wakanda? Without question.
Maybe we can still heal you.
Why? So you could just lock me up? Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships, because they knew death was better than bondage.
This is where our father killed our uncle. I bought this building.
Who are you?
More connects us than separates us. The wise build bridges, while the foolish build barriers. We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe.
rest.
You gotta take it back to that first outro scene. I gotta watch it one more time.
The illusions of the vision threaten our very existence.
God, that hits so hard, bro.
I thought we were going to be able to do this video foolishly without talking about what's going on right now. We're not going to be able to do it. There's just too much in this movie. First off, Jenna, I know that you've seen it before, but now that you know that it's a part of the MCU, how do you feel about it now?
This movie is so much, even more than I remembered it. Like, I remember it being a good movie, even without the base of the understanding of the vibranium and all of that. Besides the vibranium and then the Winter Soldier at the very end, I don't think there was really too many other
overlapping things.
MCU type of things. The best description of this movie is just that wholesome, like, loyalty and honor. I loved so many of the characters. Usually in these movies, there's like the main character is the one you really kind of grab onto as far as their storyline, but M'Baku, incredible fight scene. Nakia was driving the car in the chase scene, and then she ended up just sitting in the seat with the steering wheel. I laughed out loud at that one too. Like, it was kind of unexpected because it was really serious scenes, but it was good humor. The general, how do you say her name? Okoye? What a great general. She's a great fighter. She just looked very regal and royal, and they touched on the consequences, like multi-generational consequences of bad decisions, I guess would be the best way to describe it. The soundtrack was incredible. I think Matt's gonna be able to touch on a lot of Bygone Jim moments. I think the one that stands out more than anything in the end credit scene where he says, "More connects us than separates us." And I think that's a really good
Bygone Jim quote.
Yeah.
So,
it brought me back to the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. The opening was very engaging. It was very, okay, the movie started, that's it, we got your attention. It wasn't boring. And like Jenna said, this movie doesn't need the MCU to be a standalone. I mean, it could be a standalone film. It doesn't need the MCU at all. It was as visually stunning as Aquaman was when they went to Wakanda. That's the feeling I got. There's several movies that you can't get the full effect unless you see them in the theater, unfortunately, or if you see them in a really big screen. When I saw Aquaman and they go to Atlantis, it just looked like it was otherworldly. The same thing with Wakanda. Both of the ceremonial fight scenes brought me back to Troy with Hector and Achilles fighting, and the whole thing about honor, don't let the rock take your fall, that kind of jazz. It brought me back to that. Both times he spoke to his father reminded me of The Lion King.
It did for me too. I was going to say that, especially the part where he's like, you are more than what you have become.
I haven't dealt with racism personally as much as some of my friends have, but I have, and I can tell you it's not a positive thing, obviously. T'Challa's story arc of going from, no, I'm not going to help the oppressors because they don't deserve it, or whatever his reasoning was. It was a tradition that was passed down since the Wakandans became who they were. And he was the first one to break that. He was the first one to say, two wrongs don't make a right. This guy he shouldn't be outcasted. He shouldn't be treated the way he is, because not only is he one of us, but he's right. This shouldn't be hoarded. That's basically what racism is about. It's about excluding people, and this movie touched it in so many different ways.
Talk about like breaking the chain. For him to be like in the ethereal plane and being like, all y'all were wrong. that was pretty cool.
I really enjoyed the fact that the movie came out and it wasn't trying to hit that. I mean, the black community did like it, because who wouldn't want, the first black superhero, just like women want, like Wonder Woman. Things like that can be talked about to death, but movies like this can actually wake people's eyes up and get them to understand that we really are one nation, and, building barriers and trying to hoard yourself. There's a fine line between self-preservation and just being ignorant. And I think that movies like this that have the fantasy undertones and they ease you in, it's not real, but the message is very real.
I love movies, I love the fiction, because it ties to real world issues.
Yeah, you're right.
I got a couple things here just to start off. I'm used to seeing Michael B. Jordan, who played Killmonger, as like a really cool dude. So this is really the only movie I know that he's in where he's like the bad guy, which is really cool. Like, I think the first movie I ever saw him in was Chronicle, and he's like this sort of popular, down-to-earth, high school kid. Ryan Coogler directed this. Michael B. Jordan was in Creed. Coogler also did a movie called Fruitvale Station, which is very much about the oppression of black people in America, and obviously there's many undertones in this. One of the coolest things that I thought about this movie was the entire time there's this argument of should Wakanda share its resources with the rest of the world, and that's what they wrestled with. In the end, T'Challa and Killmonger shared the same philosophy of sharing Wakanda with the world. T'Challa eventually ended up thinking that that was right. Same thing that Killmonger wanted to do, but they wanted to go about it in different ways. So the philosophy was the same, that Wakanda is selfish for hoarding all of its resources when everyone else is suffering and struggling, but it's how they were going about doing it. Killmonger wanted to arm the world so that they could overthrow and become tyrants essentially over other people, whereas T'Challa wanted to bring everybody together. T'Challa tells Killmonger, you have become them. So you spent your entire life fighting these people that have oppressed our people, all for what? For you just to do the same to them. What makes you any better? Matt, I know you have a lot of feelings about this movie. Please share them with us.
Oh my God. Pastor, you're right. Halfway through this, I was just like, we're gonna try to stay away from this. It's a very sensitive topic. This type of movie is incredibly powerful, and I think can speak to molding the future. I swear to God, that's how I feel about these types of movies. Wow, my Lord. Get ready to edit this one, because I got a lot of notes. They are a very powerful people. They demand respect. I loved how they were portrayed. I thought it was fantastic. Killmonger had a line and he said, you have all the security, but you don't watch what you put in your body. Bruh. Such a minute detail that would only matter to people that are into, you know, but like, that was big. I loved that. First time I cried was when T'Challa was getting kind of tuned up in that fight. And then when his mother said, show him who you are. Oh,
good stuff.
God.
Good stuff.
And playback, I don't know what I look like, but I probably looked terrible. It was just, I just lost it. Like, I feel like I get hit with electricity. Like, I can't control those cries and that just absolute honor piece. I love it. T'Challa and M'Baku, whenever they were fighting on the ledge, T'Challa was like, look, man, tap. I don't want to kill you. I love that. And then I love that M'Baku could stifle his pride enough to not die, because obviously for a man of power, a man that's wanting to make it, that was a lot. That was a lot for him to swallow. I think that was a big, big jump for him in his character. And then later on, him saying a life for a life, I loved that so much. I thought he did a really, really good job with M'Baku, that character. Is he slept on as far as a character?
Maybe a little bit. He is shown more later on, but
Good.
he's definitely never like a centerpiece.
I want to see more of him. I like him a lot. Homegirl with the joke about, you know what I call these shoes that make no sound? Sneakers. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Who's the guy in the fights, like on the ledge? Zuri. All right. Whenever he is about to commence that fight between, and I'm jumping ahead here, but with T'Challa and Killmonger, right before that, he had this look about him when he looked at Killmonger, and you actually were like, like you made like a noise, and it made me, it made me sort of notice it. What do you think that look was that he gave him? Was it was it out of like disrespect? It was just like,
remember that he was the guy that the king saved.
There you go.
It was literally, if it wasn't for me, your dad would still be here.
I think it's also, you know, he was the only other one alive that knew about this kid, and he's the one that basically chose to leave him behind, because if he would have told somebody else, he might not have been left behind. So I took that look as like shame and regret.
Agreed. Shame and regret.
Power derived from pain and rage is the weakest power a man can have. And
is that a Matt Bygone Jim moment? That's good, Matt. I like that a lot.
I mean, we saw that in Killmonger. You could just feel the pain. And when they went deeper later in the story of why, you could just see it so much. And you saw his unraveling before he even became king. Yeah. Like, you could just feel it coming.
It was like all this anger and revenge, which makes a good villain.
I'm sort of jumping all over the place, but would you kill me, my love, for Wakanda? Without question. She delivered it so well. She delivered it with so much power. A kid from Oakland running around believing in fairy tales. Whenever Killmonger said that on the train on the train tracks after he'd been stabbed, there was just so many nods to, I think, of course, the black community, but also the white community. As a white person, I don't have that context. I have not been there. But I felt like this movie, and especially right now, this movie did such an incredible job at relaying such a positive message while showing these struggles. I think it was interlaced in so many areas Do you agree with that?
As a white guy, there's only so much I know. The only thing I can say is, from my perspective, is that growing up especially, most of my closest friends, especially Gus, wasn't black, but he was Hispanic. I remember one time, I hope it's okay if I share this story, Gus, hope that's cool with you, buddy. We always give each other a hard time because that's just, we're all bros. One time Gus dated a white girl, went over to meet her dad or something, and he basically made some comment about why couldn't you date an American or something like that. To Gus, best guy I've ever met in my life. And I remember that was the first time that I had ever really seen somebody that I loved and cared about, not joking, 100% serious, being racist towards someone that I cared about. That situation with Gus, it wasn't even something I experienced directly, it was all secondhand, but that really changed my perspective after that.
This is the first MCU movie that has a medical scene that is somewhat accurate.
Oh, you're talking about the part where he gets shot in the spine and then one day later comes back? Is that the scene you're talking about?
Yeah, we totally have that technology, yes. Whenever he took Killmonger up to the mountain and was like, here's Wakanda, that was another beautiful moment that he was like, you're dying, you're my enemy, you tried to kill me, you tried to take everything over. And then T'Challa still had the heart in him to be like, I'll show you Wakanda, even though you're dying. And then he was like, I want to heal you, I want to save you. He was like, nah, I would rather die than be in bondage. And I think that was also a friggin'...
That was definitely more towards the black community than it was
absolutely.
For us.
And that was a nod to the black community without a doubt, I would assume. When he pulled the knife out, he might not have died right then, but that's absolutely gonna speed up his death. If you're ever impaled with anything, you get to the ER, the first thing they do is stabilize it and keep it there. So I thought that was really, really good. Of all the times they've never given CPR, nobody's ever thought to call 911. Sir, are you okay? Start compressions. They finally did something. And that was just, I love that. I know nobody gives a but I love it.
I almost forgot. And I love, Michael B. Jordan's one of my favorite actors, I love him. His outfit as Killmonger was inspired by Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. The only other movie that we've talked about any type of racial issues was X-Men. And one of the things that I thought was interesting, talking about their philosophy, is that they did share the same philosophy in the end, or even at the beginning, wanting to do what's best for their people and everything like that. It reminds me a lot of Charles and Magneto, because they both wanted what was best for mutants, and Charles was like, we can integrate with everybody. It doesn't have to be us versus them. Killmonger and Magneto are very much like it's either us or them.
Last two things will work to be an example of how we should treat each other. Illusions of division threaten our very existence. We are more connected than divided. In times of crisis, wise men build bridges when the foolish build barriers. We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe. I had Holden start that over and I watched it 3 times and it made me cry like a baby. I think that sums up this entire movie. This was so friggin' powerful. I give this movie a 9.5.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Is this your favorite MCU movie so far?
I mean, I think so. I think, honestly, my favorite one was Iron Man, the first one. Then it was Civil War. And then this one, I mean, there was just so much good about this. There was so much, it was so powerful, and I could put this at the very top.
In an imperfect world, the MCU, I give it a 9.9. It's damn near perfect.
I want to give this a 10. Not seeing the rest of the movies and knowing that I only have 1 to 10. If I tell you this is a 10 and I find another movie, I'm like, this is a 10. It's so good.
I teared up 3 times. I don't think I've teared up in any of the other MCU movies yet. I was so invested in 7 different characters. They really made us feel all of these characters' feelings. I related to so many of these characters. They had good humor. Matt, I disagree with your score. I give it a 9.9.
Wow. Probably gonna disappoint everybody. This is my honest rating. I'd give this probably about a 7.5. Now don't get me wrong, that sounds awful since everyone's like 9, 10. This is a great movie. I love this movie. It's not one of my favorite MCU movies. That's just how I feel about it. I love it. I could watch it any day of the week. Love Michael B. Jordan. Love Chadwick Boseman. 7.5, which I think is good. I'm really trying to be careful. I don't want to be swayed because you guys are all 9s. That's what I thought, and that's how I think.
Is there something specifically that makes it a 7.5?
Probably just some technical things about it, which would just come down to nitpicking. This movie was actually nominated for Best Picture.
Wow.
I don't know if you knew that.
I don't really know what that means. I just know it's good. Go ahead.
There was a lot of issues with the CGI specifically. This movie came out 2 months prior to Infinity War coming out. They were down to the last 2 weeks, like the last week to 2 weeks. That's why, especially like that end fight scene, it can look very cartoonish, and that's no fault of the filmmakers. They just straight up is a case of running out of time. Again, just technical stuff, like being on the mountains, it felt very much like a set as opposed to they were actually like in Africa. You could tell like the sky. Those moments just sort of took me out of it in those aspects. I know how the other movies down the line made me feel and how I love those movies. This does not stack up to that. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. Those movies are my 9s and my 10s. All right, guys, I know that this could be kind of touchy. Let's talk about it in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to Matt's channel and Pastor's channel. Snapkeep videos, links for both are in the description. Oh, yeah.
Make sure to subscribe to my channel as well. You'll get some great content, high quality content, as Holden would say.
No. We are not.
If you enjoyed the video, leave me a like. Helps out my channel a lot. Comment down below, letting me know what you think. Consider subscribing if you want to see more fun content like this. And also consider supporting me on Patreon, where you can get early access to videos like this and exclusive content. As always, we appreciate you watching. We'll see you in Infinity War.